Giggity. All right, guys. This is the part of the show where that doesn't go to the audio version, but this is the visual version here. So we're live on Twitch right now, twitch.tv/DrunkNerds podcast. The twitch.tv/DrunkNerds podcast? Yeah, that's what it is. But yeah, check us out on there. We are live streaming the show right now, but the podcast always goes up later on if you want the audio clean cut version. But this is just the raw version that we're doing live. So thank you guys so much for listening. Check us out later if you want to check us out later. But it'll be on YouTube. This version will, but the rest of it, no, won't. I don't know where I'm going with this. Anyways, I'm gonna do the intro here in a second. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 409 of the Drunk Testers podcast. I'm your host, as always. I'm Tyler, and joining me with the man, the myth, the legend himself, Sir Colonel Gables. Sorry to interrupt your sweet drum beat. How you doing, buddy?
Dude, I'm doing fantastic. After the work week I got going, just like just trying to do whatever and anything, in terms of keeping myself occupied because of how slow it's been because of the whole winter advisory weather and stuff. And I'm glad to have that out of the way so I can have a few days to myself. Maybe get some games played, maybe take care of the dog some more and stuff. But
My dog
otherwise, man,
Doppy.
I feel pretty good. Picked up Actually, I picked up like Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury just today. Played through the first world, completed, got every little things like the stamps, the stars, and stuff. So I got that out of the way and stuff. But how have you been doing, Tyler?
About the opposite, Gables. About the opposite. Just today's Saturday. We're recording a day early. Thank you for doing that with me, by the way.
No problem.
Supposed to have a Saturday off. Because my other job's having like mandatory work Valentine's Day, so whatever. And then so I'm like, all right, cool, get a Saturday off, doesn't really matter. And then my main job's like, hey, uh, mandatory Saturday. I'm like,
Oh
oh,
God.
cool. So I'm working. I had to work today, Saturday, from my first job, and now my second job I got to do tomorrow. So uh, gonna be a long weekend, but not the long weekend that you want. It's just gonna be a long work weekend. Um, but yeah, no, I'm doing okay. Otherwise, having a couple beers here. I'm drinking a arrogant bastard ale, which I didn't realize it's one of my favorite beers, but I didn't realize I haven't seen it for a very long time at the store, and I was like, fuck yeah, I need a break from the Gables, not you, the Gables. Um, but I just realized like, there's been way too many Gables on this podcast lately. We're talking like 4, 5, or 6 Gables on the podcast. It's like that's too many. Two's the limit. Two is the limit. But no, I'm doing okay. Otherwise, it's just working, clanging and banging as always I do. I'm having like a weird hair thing going on right now. That's why I'm wearing the hat. But I'm also representing Talking Ship at the same time. It's a cool Facebook group, and every like it used to be like a podcast. That's how we all joined into them, and then now like every like 18 months you get a podcast out of them. So works out pretty well. And then every 10 years you get to go to Vegas with them
Oh, there
and
you
do
go.
karaoke at a Japanese karaoke bar and drink a weird sake uh, Red Bull infused drink, but not realize until 4 in the morning after you drink 50 of them that there's Red Bull in them. And you're like, why am I wide awake right now? Why am I talking 3 miles an hour? I don't know. I don't know why I said 3 miles an hour. That's not very fast. 30 miles an hour. I don't know. That's not very fast either. 600 miles per hour. Is that fast? That sounds fast. It's kind of what Elon Musk probably his rockets go like that. That's all. That's how I felt at 4 in the morning. Then also, why 2 days later do I have? Am I sitting on the toilet shooting through the ceiling? Um, oh yeah, Red Bull sake. Um, but yeah, no, other than that, I'm doing okay. Um, you know, just trying to grow the beard out because it's very cold. Cables, it's very cold. The
Mm.
high today was like -4, which
I
is not
cannot
fun when
imagine that
you
weather.
yeah not fun when you spend a good chunk of your day uh, outside. Um, but trying getting around it, whatever. Got a little bit of gaming in myself. Played. I'm about the same with you with 3D World. Got that. Um, got some sweet. Got a sweet poster from GameStop for getting it. One of the rare times I got a physical game. Um, yeah, I'm. By the way, Gables, I want to point out, loving the shirt.
Oh, of course.
Loving the
Yeah.
shirt. Yeah. I'm glad that I can't wait for that Walmart money to kick in when for them selling my catchphrase that I invented just for you that no one has ever once used before me. I don't know why they chose a hammer though. I don't mean like when have I ever called you the hammer, Gables? You know, maybe I should. Maybe the man, the myth, the legend himself, Sir Colonel Hammers. I don't know. That doesn't work either. I don't know. I'll figure something out. But I hope we get those royalty checks here soon because um, Daddy can use it. Uh, I'll split it with you. We'll buy
Oh,
Chico
that's
and
generous.
Louis a shit ton of fucking German tacos or something. I don't know.
God,
It'll be a
it's the
good time.
wieners have everywhere.
It's a wiener
Oh,
schnitzel.
what's the sound?
The daddy's got the wiener schnitzel. It's gonna be a good time. That's how I imagine Chico sounds if he can talk. Like I don't know why. You know he's part Chihuahua, German taco. That's all I think of now.
No, he would just look over at you, and all of a sudden, he'll just stand up on it. He's like, "What's this?"
Yeah. You got food? What's
Yeah, pretty much.
up? Well, here we are, guys. It is Saturday night. It's a good time tonight. Good time tonight. Good night for a fight. I was trying to quote Elton John there. I'm very tired. If you can't tell, but this beer's helping. This beer's helping quite a bit here, Gables. I'm liking it. I didn't realize it though. I forgot about this. It is 7.2% alcohol,
Oh,
um,
there you go.
which is like twice like a normal beer. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna grab a few of these. I was gonna have a few tonight. I'm like, maybe two. I gotta work in the morning, so maybe two is the limit. Like before we got on the podcast, I drank the first one. I was like, I'll grab a couple more, throw them next thing. Usually I drink three or four, and I'm like, no, no, I'm good. I'm gonna stick with the two. I don't want, I can't. I drank like 4 or 5 beers. We recorded that Saturday on a Saturday a couple of weeks ago, and I drank like
Mhm.
5 beers during like 5 gables to be precise that night. Uh, and I woke up and I was like, I wasn't hungover, but I'm like, I feel kind of like shit, like a little tiny like I'm like, God, I'm getting old, and also I can't drink like I used to. Like I remember drinking 5 beers on this podcast years ago when I was a young man in my late 20s, 3 years ago. Uh, I drink that five was a weird night, you know. It's like what the like I only drink five. What's wrong with me, you know? Now I drink five. I'm like, Jesus, Tyler, you slow it down a little bit. You're getting a little crazy here. Getting a little crazy. Um, I don't know. I don't know where I'm going anymore. Uh, no Lady D talk this week. I got nothing new for you guys. Capcom hasn't released any more news about him, which is disappointing because that she's been the light of my year so far, Lady D, in her beautiful beautiful hat and stilettos. But anyways, before I get down a weird tangent again, like we did last week, unless we got some sweet crossovers we could think of, Gables with Lady D. We got Home Alone last week. I don't know. Um,
That's right.
we got
Got Home Alone last week.
we'll organically figure out a way to get into it. But I do want to. Speaking of Resident Evil, oh, that's a little segue. I haven't done one of those in 408 episodes. Um, Gables, the Resident Evil movie, which was oddly just announced like a little over a
Mhm.
year ago, already has a release date. It's already been
Really?
filmed, already been made. Yeah, coming out on Labor Day weekend, September 3rd is the date according to Deadline here. This is the reboot. Thank God it's not Paul W. Anderson and his wife Mila Djokovic, who couldn't act to save her fucking life. Um, and they're too busy destroying the Monster Hunter franchise right now with their movie. I think it already came out. I don't even know.
I
Uh,
don't even know either.
I don't know the way movies work anymore. Like God knows. I think it's fun. I think it's kind of funny. They think we're gonna be able to go back to the movie theaters September 3rd, or if there will be movie theaters September 3rd. Who fucking knows? I hope so, but who knows? Just give me fucking Fast and Furious 9 already, please. God, it's already been delayed a year. Stop fucking with me. Space Jam 2 gets delayed. Mortal Kombat gets delayed. It's bullshit. Uncharted movie gets delayed. Probably not gonna be good, but I still want to see it. Yeah. Anyways, it's getting got a release date now, September 3rd. As of right now, fucking Black Widow's got delayed over a year now. It's bullshit.
Wow.
Anyways, I'm not happy about it, Gables. Anyways, so this is gonna be. So I remember like that was a thing that like they said they want to be more. It's like I can't remember the director's name that's behind it, but he said that he wanted to be more kind of attached to the games, actually be not just have the characters randomly pop up and then kill them off immediately like they did in the other one in the original movies, but have it more attached to the original game 1 and 2.
Okay.
itself. So that was like I don't think it was ever officially confirmed, but the way he talked made it sound like it's gonna be like um, it's gonna deal with the Spencer Mansion and also Raccoon City, which kind of
Hmm.
makes sense because I mean I don't think there's a big gap between one and two. I think it's a couple months. Um, but I
Yeah,
mean I
there
guess it
really
could
isn't too big of a gap, man. I mean, even like with a movie, they could equally cover both one and two in the span of
yeah
like two different acts.
yeah, or it could just be like everything goes to shit real fast in it, you know, like shit goes first half. Yeah, like I said, Act One is them trying to keep it in the mansion, and Act Two was it got out and everything went to shit really really fast.
Mm.
And or I mean, I don't know. But yeah, they have like there's not there's some I recognize some of the actors and actresses in this movie because they've been in shows I've seen. I don't recognize their names, but I know them their faces. Like they have Robbie Amell, who's from The Flash, um, and his brother played the Arrow in the TV show that's in the same
Oh yeah, Stephen
universe.
Amell. Yeah.
Yep, Stephen Amell. Yep, who's doing a wrestling show for Stars, by the way. I don't know if you knew that. Um, yeah, it's
Huh.
kind of interesting. I don't know what's coming out. It's got. I mean, obviously everything's fucked up because COVID, but like the filming of it got delayed after. Um, and so I think it's still being filmed. But they have like uh, one of the actors from Maze Runner, The Umbrella Academy, Zombieland 2 has and like the 100. So like I said, I don't know the names of the actors and actresses, but if I saw their faces, I recognize them. But yeah, like they have like they're gonna have someone play Leon Kennedy, Claire Redfield, Albert Wesker, and then the scientist William Birkin. Um, so they're gonna have a lot of the characters from the original games. Um, I don't know. I mean, I'm not. I don't know. I don't really know what to expect from this. I mean, I want to see a trailer, but I mean, I don't know. I just want to. I just hope it's decent. It's just like any video game adaptation we get. It's like if it just
Right.
comes out. I mean, and the bar's so low for video game movies, and it's even lower for Resident Evil movies. So if it just comes out and it's like it's watchable, I'll be happy with that. I'm not a huge Resident Evil fan. I'm a big Lady D fan, but I'm not a huge Resident Evil fan. But I enjoy the games, even though I beat three of them last year for the first time, but four if you include Resident Evil 6. I don't know, Gables. What's your hopes and dreams for the Resident Evil movie?
Well, what I'm hoping is, in terms of like the story narrative and stuff, that they hit on the key points of the original Resident Evil without it having to be too like long-winded or you know overly campy, kind of like how the original was, and stuff. But what I'm saying is, like addressing certain plot points, like for example, like say Wesker's betrayal and stuff like that, and the whole things between Barry and Jill and like Chris and blah 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 and stuff. But I'm kind of hoping it's more akin, story wise to the games, but kind of reclarification of what I've just said previously, where it's like address the stories and key points and stuff, and not just have like a whole lot of fluff. I mean, nobody wants to see a whole bunch of like the main characters going through a lot of corridors or a lot of like random unnecessary bosses. Even if it's like say some of the key bosses, like say the like the final creature or something like that at the end of the original Resident Evil One
Oh,
and stuff, or the whole T virus or something like that.
yeah, T something. I think. Yeah, Justin was screaming at our us right now when he's watching this later. I'm sure he's a huge
Oh
Resident Evil fan.
yeah, oh yeah, no doubt about it.
Oh,
But it's
I'll
like
Google it.
you have that. There's got to be some form of a liquor though. There's got to be like the liquors. There's got to be in some point throughout this movie.
I got
It's
liquor
got.
in the freezer if you want me to get liquor.
Oh no no no! Oh yeah, you know what I'm talking about
Yeah, I
though.
know the giant tongue thing.
The giant like mutated monsters with no skin and stuff with a large ass tongue that look like a goddamn like a lizard and stuff. Oh my
It's like the
gosh. I still have the memories of playing the Resident Evil 2 remake, and all of a sudden it's like I see one of those things the first time, that yep, that's a liquor, and all of a sudden it's like I thought that I go through past them, and all of a sudden I look behind, and the damn thing's like right, it's like right next to me, and I just
mm.
like, and all of a sudden I start booking it, and it starts just running after me. Yeah, we got to have the classic. You got to have the classic enemies from there.
mm.
T virus, obviously full
Tyrant is
effect.
his name.
Tyrant, that's
Yeah.
it. And honestly, the only reason why I know a little bit more about the original Resident Evil and certain plot points is because I love running. I like watching a lot of speed runs of the original game, so I kind of have a familiarity now with some bits of the story.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much what I hope.
Yeah. Like I said, I hope it's good. And if there's not a Jill sandwich joke in this movie, I'm just gonna I'm gonna take my mask off. I'm gonna give myself COVID in the middle of the movie theater. Fuck it. It's not worth it. We fucked up. You've had plenty of time to make that joke in this movie, and you didn't do it. Fuck it. Um, I don't know. Yeah, hopefully it's good. Speaking of some video game movie news, the Borderlands movie continues to baffle me more than we're not big movie guys. Obviously, we don't talk a lot about movies. We talk about video game movies and shit like that because obviously they're video games. But like Eli Roth is directing this, which for people that don't know, he
Okay.
does like mostly like that gore porn kind of like horror stuff.
Oh, I see.
That's kind of like not he doesn't do Saw, but he's based Saw like movies like Hostel and shit. So he's directing it. Kevin Hart is playing the brute guy. I can't remember his name. The soldier, the big muscular guy.
Oh,
Jack
Roland.
Black, yeah, Roland. Jack Black is playing Claptrap. Um,
I've
Jamie Lee
heard that.
Curtis is
Tannis?
Tanis. Yep, thank you. And
Okay,
then
that sounds
oh
appropriate.
god, there was another one they got on there, but I'm just like, it's so weird. Like they're the more I hear about the cat like the so Kevin Hart's character, I thought like when I heard he's being cast in the movie without reading about the character he's gonna play as, because I liked the Borderlands. I never played three, but I like Borderlands. I beat Borderlands one, love two, um, but I like especially Handsome Jack and Tales of the Borderland is fantastic.
Yeah,
It's the best, the best of anything in Borderlands to me. It's better than all the games, and maybe the best of the Telltale stuff. Um, but it's just a weird like the way they're like getting these people in these roles, and then I'm just like the more I'm thinking, all right, we got Jack Black, we got Kevin Hart. Why don't we just get The Rock and then get I can't remember her name. I think it's Gillian, something Gillian, but from Doctor Who, the redhead who's in
oh, Karen Gillian, you're gonna
Karen
have her
Gillian. Yeah,
play Lilith along with a rock as Brick
I,
or some, or
I don't even
somebody
care.
has to be in
Just
as Mordecai though.
we're just turning this into Jumanji, which I'd actually be cool if we
This
just
actually feels like almost most of the cast of
you
Jumanji.
got
Might
half
as
of
well
them
just have
already.
well, you might as well just have like Dwayne Johnson and Gillian, or something like
Yeah,
that.
I would love that. I love the two new Jumanji movies. Um, But I mean, like I'd be fully on board. They just get the director from the Jumanji movie. Fuck it, Eli Roth, get the fuck out. We don't need you in this. And then just fucking have them just do a Jumanji 3, but it's Borderlands, and I would be fully on board. Because I think those movies are really funny. I like Jack Black. I'm a huge Tenacious D fan. Um, I like Kevin Hart. He's funny in the roles he's in. I don't know. It's just it's so weird, and it's like the story in these games isn't much. Like I
Well,
don't know. I think
yeah,
hmm, I mean
I love the story aspects in like the original Borderlands, and especially Borderlands 2 had to do in large part of the mission itself. The missions, even like the side missions, held a lot of interesting like distractions in regards to the main stories. I mean, the main story of Borderlands 1, I really can't tell you
the Vault
verbatim here
Hunter.
and there,
I mean, you're trying to find
but
the vault. That was
you're trying to find the vault, but at the same time, you have to contend with like a bunch of different like weapon companies, like Hyperion, obviously that was one
yeah
of them, and then you have like I want to say Atlas, then some other company,
yeah. I
but
mean,
it would have
go
made
ahead. I'm
sense as
sorry.
like more like a Borderlands 2, sort of thing. At least with Handsome Jack, you get yourself a legitimate like villain.
Yeah, he's awesome. I love Hands Jack in two, and in Tales of the Borderland. I mean, I don't know. The more I think about it, I guess like you don't really need to have a good story or even barely a story. Like yeah, here's the vault. Find the fucking vault, and then just the best parts of Borderlands outside of the gameplay for a lot of people. But to me, I enjoyed Borderlands 2 more for the characters and the interactions. Like that shit
But
was,
yeah,
especially Handsome Jack. He was definitely the highlight of the Borderlands 2 for me. So I guess I don't know. I mean, maybe I think it could work because yeah, you don't need to have like, there's lore to Borderlands, yeah, but it's like I don't think the people that are like gonna enjoy this movie um, are gonna care about the lore. I mean, especially for like even the fans. I don't even know how much they're gonna care about it. It's like just entertain me. Like I guess that this might be actually now I think about the best case scenario for like possible movie for like a video game movie where like fans of the game and just casual people can enjoy because it's
right.
not like there's not decades of build up. These like I guess there's not like yeah the lore is not crazy. Um, it's just like yeah it's just a bunch of funny characters and interactions. So I mean maybe it could work. I don't know like Resident Evil's got the fucking their lore is batshit crazy, and there's so many like the hardcore fans. Like I know people that used to read the books in high school and middle school. Like that's how crazy
Hmm.
in Resident Evil they were, and like I mean the movies are terrible. Just they're just bad movies. Even they're really bad Resident Evil movies. But they're just bad movies in general. So it's like yeah, I don't know. I mean, it might, it's like we always talk about, ooh, like I'm nervous about the Uncharted movie, because it's like I love the Uncharted and I love Nathan Drake, but it's
Right,
like
right.
that's a movie in itself. It doesn't need to be a movie. So it's like, I don't know. Like I guess Borderlands maybe it helps I'm not as tied to it, but I don't know. Like it's funny as I was like talking about this, and I'm kind of talking myself into it. Like the bar, I mean, the bar's not super high. There's not a lot they have to attach themselves to. It's like here's the characters from this game that you like. We're just gonna put them in funny scenarios, and then there's a mission. There you go. And it could be a good time. Now I think about it. So I don't know. I don't know. Just kind of like did a whole like 180 there on my thoughts and feelings of that. Huh. It's
Hmm.
weird. I don't do that very often. But speaking of sticking with video game, I guess not movies, but we're going to silver screen now with The Last of Us. We now have Joel and Ellie are cast. We have Bella Ramsey and Pe- Pedro. I don't know why I'm struggling with this. Pedro Pascal. They both come from Game of Thrones. Two of my favorite characters in the entire series. Um,
Okay.
and Bella Ramsey is the highlight of that abysmal last fucking season of Game of Thrones. She was
Okay.
great before that. Like I still, her first scene she's in, she's awesome in. She's just in the last season, I think season 8 of Game of Thrones. She's just a fucking badass in, and she's like a kid. She's like literally like when she filmed the show, she was like 11, 12, 13. So, and she was, and then Pedro Pascal, he's the Mandalorian. I know he's kind of blown up over the last few years. He was in the one season of Game of Thrones a while back, but I don't know. I mean, I mean, I don't really know him because of Mandalorian. I know Bella just from the Game of Thrones, but I loved her in that. And I think uh, just from what I know of them, like I think this might be perfect characters for the perfect actors for The Last of Us. It's like, and it makes me happy where it's like they're not just, they're getting some names, they're getting some people out there that like we know are good, and everything they're pretty much in, they're good at. I mean, the thing that they're in might not be good, but they're good in it. Um, so that gives me hope. It's just like they have like the one of the main writers from Chernobyl, which is a fantastic HBO show. That I mean, it's hard to recommend to watch that because it's like almost recommending you need to play Last of Us because it's like it's not a good time. It's not a good time.
No.
It's a miserable time, but it's a journey to go on. But same with Chernobyl. That it's a miserable show, and you're not gonna be entertained. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, what's your hopes with the Last of Us TV show, Gables?
Well, I remain positive. I remain like hopeful with a lot of the potential that it is leading. That it will be a fantastic story in regards to it. That's my main hope for it. Obviously, I did want things to be like I want obviously to be entertained with it. Like something that's going to go through and actually drive me into wanting to watch it in that regards. I mean, I have like nothing but like say just positive hope in regards to this thing being like like a good TV show and this and that, because it's like it's got a lot of potential. It
Yeah,
has a lot of good factors. The actors are well established. The writer of this show, obviously, has a lot of good potential as well. So I'm just waiting and seeing.
mm,
That's that's what I kind of feel at this moment in time without knowing too much more.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I can't. Like they didn't start filming or anything like that. It sucks because I didn't really there was a little bit of hope there and a little bit more nervousness for this, and now I see the people they've hired to be in the show, and I'm like, fuck. Now I'm really excited for this, and I didn't want that to happen because if it's not good, it's gonna suck. Um, but Gables, I want to move on to a some actual gaming news here. So a
Okay.
game that we haven't heard about in a long time,
Okay.
but a company we've talked about just recently, BioWare.
Oh.
Their
Oh, okay.
their game that came out just a couple years ago, Gables.
Anthem.
Yes. So Anthem Next was the thing that was announced I want to say like end of like 2019 that
Yes, it was.
they were they were like basically redoing the whole thing. Came out in February of 2019, but like by the end of 2019, they announced that like it's called Anthem Next. Um, and this is a report from Bloomberg by Jason Schreier, like coming out that uh, so let me see if I can find the part I wanted to find here. So, depending on the project is progressing, EA will continue to grow, back and grow Anthem Next. The team or abandon the project. So right now, I guess like the team has been working on it. So they're supposed to have like a thing come out, and like
Right.
they're supposed to come out like last year, but obviously COVID fucked everything up. But the team that's been working on it is only like 30 people, and they need like
Yep.
90, I guess, to do it all. Um, so they're sometime this past week, according to this report, they were going to talk to the EA execs, um, to either decide to either give them the team to the 90 people that they want, give or take, and actually do everything they want to do, or either completely abandon Anthem Next. Um,
Mm,
so yeah, so I mean, Anthem obviously came out, and it's just like I mean, I don't even really fully understand like what people dislike about is it the I played the game. I only put like 2 hours into it, and I just didn't think the game was very fun to play. Like, yeah, being Iron Man essentially was cool, but it's like everything else was, I don't know. The combat wasn't as like a game like this. I said at the time was like Destiny holds up so well, even though like you can, yeah, the content maybe not great, or the lore and the story isn't great, whatever. But it's like the gameplay. It's the game itself is a blast to play, and in a live service game like that's the most important thing. And it's like I feel like the moment to moment gameplay was just not very fun. It's just like
mm,
it's very much Mass Effecty, which we love Mass Effect, but
right.
I like the I don't know. I don't really feel um, like if Mass Effect didn't have that fantastic story, we wouldn't we would enjoy Mass Effect. Uh, it'd be a fine game, but no one would remember it. I
Right.
didn't feel like the
Yep.
game was all that. I don't know. I just didn't feel like it was fun to play. But it's like I feel like the whole game itself wasn't there. Like the concept, from what I understand, is like people that beat the game, like there's nothing to do after you beat the game. So it's like I don't even know. I don't even know what the hell like reimagining everything would be like. I know like they're talking about like the skills, the loot, and all that shit. Like that's an issue with it seems like every live service game has been. But I don't know. I mean, what's your thoughts? Should they give? Do you think they will or should? Two-part question there. Do you think they should continue with Anthem, and do you think they will continue with Anthem?
Whether or not I feel that they should continue with Anthem, yes, I do, because Anthem, even though it's had a lot of hiccups, a botched launch, like loot issues, I mean, reward issues, graphical frame rate issues, a bunch of issues on the PC version too. I still believe that if they wanted to try to make this game successful, they need to buckle down and actually give these developers at BioWare and stuff the additional resources, additional people, so they can actually finish this project, so they could initially go through and do and put out the game that they originally were going to do, as they stated back in 2019, Anthem Next, this and that, because the game did have a lot of potential. It was overly hyped. People now, after the whole thing's been said and done, feel like this is probably one of the biggest flops inside of this, like the whole PS4, Xbox One generation. I mean, I can see that. I mean, I kind of feel the same way even without playing it. But in the aspect of, do I think that EA is going to continue on with it? No, I don't believe they will continue on with it, and it's for one simple reason. It is because I is because they probably feel this game is so far gone and it's draining so much of the resources with it, even if the company in and of itself is very profitable and in terms of making billions upon general microtransactions, if not from FIFA, then from Madden or this or that, they'll go through and they'll axe it because they know this is going to be a money pit. This isn't going to be a guaranteed success. The Anthem name in and of itself, since it's released, has been tarnished because of how much missteps that they did in not only creating the game, but also retaining a lot of the developers and a lot of the overall, like, people that helped create the game either have moved on to other projects, either inside BioWare or to somewhere else, or at the same point, it's like they're already limited the amount of creators already in terms of what could have worked, who could have worked on it at that time from like a 90-person team back before it launched, even probably more than that, to about 30 people, and just have it be like a side project while they're trying to do this and do that. It's like I don't feel like EA is going to continue on with it because I don't feel like they're going to give forth the full initial effort in order to make the game an actual good standard game like BioWare had envisioned it potentially.
Yeah.
So yeah, I kind of feel like this game's done for.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's like it's been about 2 years now. It came out sometime in mid-February, 2019, and well, they announced this over a year ago that they're going to do this, and obviously COVID obviously probably pushed all that shit back. But it's like they're talking about like they have a team of 30 and need 90. It's just like we're this far in, and you guys are just now making a decision if you want to do this or not. I feel like, I mean, they're chasing. I don't know. It's like, and I mean, this report comes out, and you don't hear a lot of like buzz about people like I don't, it's like not that I'm like in the world of everything, but it's like I don't. I know there's fans of games everywhere. There's these like little pockets of games, or like there's a big
Oh
following
yes,
behind games that we don't know anything about, and they're fucking huge. Like Roblox is something that we know very little about, but it's huge. It's one of the biggest
it's
games
huge
out there.
upon like the that game's demographic,
Yeah,
which is basically teenagers and younger kids and
yeah.
stuff.
But there's games out there we know nothing about, never heard of at all, and there's just these giant followings behind it. And it very well could be a groundswell there of uh, Anthem fans, but it's like this news comes out about this game basically could or be or not be done after this week, and it's like I don't hear the kind of the coming out of people like with support, and it's just like it's kind of hear the same thing over and over again about like oh they're still doing like mostly people like oh they're still doing that, and it's just like I don't know, I've heard some people like re-downloaded the game and it's like they went back and they haven't updated the game in like a year, maybe
Yeah,
give or take. Yeah, so
they
they
have
they
not even
completely
remotely updated.
yeah, it's like they completely shut down like even doing small updates or any like even little events whether it's like Halloween or Christmas or whatever. Like they don't do anything for the like they even like kind of keep it something going to bring people back. So it's like all right, so this game didn't have a big following after it came out, and now you haven't done anything to support it. So there's no reason like there's no reason for people to keep coming back. There's no, I mean yeah, there's like weekly objectives, but there's no like Destiny or Animal Crossing or all these like live division, all these like the live service games, like they consistently like there might be little tiny things like dumb things like Division 2 has a thing going on right now. Get Resident Evil, you can get Resident Evil gear in it, or like there's like the Easter event with all the eggs with Animal Crossing, or
Yep,
Destiny always does events for the holidays or for like Halloween and shit like that. Like you always hear about people going back, even like you hear people I don't pay too much attention to these games, but you hear people go back all the time to like do these little events and stuff like that. Even like you hear people going back to do shit for Avengers and stuff, and it's like they don't have that for this game. So it's like you don't even have you
no,
can't even keep. So you're not doing things to keep that little audience you do have to keep coming back and maybe grow a little bit or whatever. I don't know. Like you can like because you have friends that jump in. It's like you've been sucked back into Destiny 2 because of your friends that you play with, and it's like
of course.
and who knows how many people? I mean, it might not be a big thing. It might be a couple thousand or a few thousand. I don't know. But you can suck some friends in by, hey man, we're jumping in. We play this game every week and do these little events, shit like that. Just hop in with us, and people, oh okay, I'll buy it. It's $5. It's constantly fucking on sale for $5. So if you need coasters, cheap coasters, just fucking buy Anthem. Um, yeah. So I don't know. I just feel like at this point it's just better to get rid of it instead of putting 90 people in this like you heard all the shit like Dragon Age 4 is like it's been shown off multiple times at Game Awards in 2020 and 2018, and in
Yep,
2019 we had like early there wasn't even art for like little tease for the game, but it was just like
right.
literally just like the very most alpha of alpha could be. There wasn't even art in the gameplay we saw of it, and it's like they pimped out there like and talked about you're gonna see something for Dragon Age 4 Game Awards, and it was just a 30 seconds of nothing. There wasn't even gameplay. It was just a voiceover. It's like, wow, you showed this game at Game Awards 2 years ago and gave us essentially the same. We got a logo 2 years ago, and then and here we are. We like in the game got totally over a year in got fucking cut and had to start all over again and make a new game. Um, we're having Bioware's in a weird place. Andromeda comes out. It's not doing great. It's like instead of putting 90 people on this game that's it's dead. Just fuck it. Like what's the best case scenario out of this? You know, like the people that are gonna play it are probably the people that already bought it. So you're not gonna get new people in. Maybe yeah, you get some shit out of microtransactions stuff like that. But it's like and like yeah, what people are gonna go out and buy this game for $5 fucking, you know, or they're gonna go find it at a used bin or something somewhere. You're not gonna really make. I don't like what's the what are you gonna make out of it? Yeah, you could over time maybe you can get that money back, but it's like I would rather like with Bioware being in this rough spot it's been in for the last fucking 9 years, decade
Yep.
essentially, since the launch of Mass Effect 3. Um, you know, just fucking just cut ties with this. Fuck it, came out. You know, just move on. You know, and it sucks because they promised all these things. Like they had like a roadmap for when the game came out, and they just stopped. So all right, we're gonna fix this, and they didn't fix it. They just stopped, and we never got the shit they promised. But it's like that was 2 years ago. They promised the stuff, and it's like at this point people forgot about it. Let's just move on. And I hope they do that just for the sake of Bioware because I feel like instead of taking 90 talented people off of which should be the future of Bioware should be the most important thing and
Yeah.
making sure that their games come out and they come out good and EA don't fucking make them ship their games out early because I think you know and I mean I've talked about a million times if there's an EA game coming out in February or March before the end of the fiscal year there's gonna be something wrong with that game and that's the case we've seen almost every year there'd be a big EA game come out in fucking March or late February and the game come out and it wouldn't work great or the game wasn't good or there was fucking bugs everywhere. Look at what was it Sim City years ago.
Yep.
I mean
Oh,
we
yeah, SimCity 5, I think it was.
yeah it's
Or
like yeah it's like you got to be online to play it but the online didn't work and all the bullshit. It's just like we see that constantly with I mean if like I've every time I see I've said it a million times. Just if there's an EA game coming out and that's what kind of like made me like on one hand I was a little bummed about you know Mass Effect Legendary Edition coming out in May instead of March like the rumor but also I'm like oh it's coming out in May it's probably actually gonna be done you know it's not gonna be March 12th. I'm like oh, there might be some issues with it and there's already rumors about there's issues with them redoing the Mass Effect one so I don't know we'll have to wait and see but I have a feeling it's we're not gonna hear about if Anthem does in fact get cut we're not going to hear about for months on end. It'll come out eventually. But you know, we're talking about the future of Bioware. I want to talk about the future of E3, Gables. So
okay.
E3 obviously got canceled last year because of COVID, much like a lot of other things. And this isn't uh, E3. The people that run it, I can't think of the name of the company that runs it. Um, they are ESA is what it is. There is a plan, a rumor that E3 is gonna happen this year, but it's gonna be a digital event, which is something they said they were gonna do last year, but then just didn't end up happening. Like it's just like, oh yeah, we're gonna do it, and then like 2 months went by, and then like they just like, oh, we're not doing it. It's like, what's the plan? What are we doing? And then it was just you know obviously last year was weird with all the events, and then Jeff Keighley's Summer of Gaming, and then Jeff Grubbs did it best with Summer Games Mess, which is my favorite thing. Um, but I don't know. I mean, do you, what would you rather have, Gables? Would you rather have kind of a repeat of last year, or would you rather have just the E3 event as obviously not just have the press conference stuff, and then I'm sure the developers and stuff like that can show off the games to the press like privately like they always do, but virtually. What would you rather have? Would you rather have kind of what we had last year with just stuff spread out everywhere and random events, or would you rather just have E3 like the week of E3?
Well, after enduring the last summer's like thing with the whole like spread out like throughout the whole entire 3 months, and not knowing who's going to reveal what or what's going to have that or this or that, it's like I kind of feel like that I much rather would have like the weekend now that I think about it of the content
Right.
because even if like say the ESA does this like 3 4 day event or something like that where all the companies are doing this way and that way and stuff. I mean, granted, the big name companies could either like do their own type of direct things that they are doing, or like go with this type of like thing where it's like, okay, now we're gonna do this, and that, and this type of like time frame and stuff, and this is where you get this. I kind of liked the idea of like one place being like categorized sort of thing. Okay, it's like, okay, this is where this person's going to go with this one, or that person's going to go with that one. I thought with Keeley's thing last year, it's like it was a good like replacement for E3, but at the same time, there were a lot of things I did not even learn about, and there were a lot of things that were kind of missed or swept underneath the rug or something like that. I mean, even after listening to a bunch of gaming podcasts around that time and stuff, I really didn't know too much of what exactly happened that was major besides that the Xbox One, like no, not Xbox One, but Xbox Series X and S, like games event or something where they showed some
They had
bits
a
of
third party
games.
one, and then they
Yeah,
had like the other one.
yeah, but other than that, though, there really wasn't a lot of memorable things from Jeff Keighley's thing that I remember. I can't
Yeah,
really remember like much about it, So I
yeah,
kind of feel like if they went the route of say a digital E3 and have sort of something similar to the structure of this day be this person, this day be that one. Of course, then I think about it, it's going to be hilarious because like Microsoft is probably going to take the place of like what Bethesda did in terms of like their time when they actually introduced stuff, like their day
yeah,
probably in their times. But yeah, I'd much more prefer the E3 format personally.
yeah. I mean, my thing is like I don't think an E3. I think we can have back what we have at E3, but I don't think E3 itself is going to come back the
Yeah.
way it is. Not because I mean, you think about even before COVID, Sony already canceled their 2020 press
Oh
conference.
yes.
They didn't have one in 2019. Or did they? No, they didn't. They canceled 2019.
Right.
They canceled 2020s before COVID. Bethesda canceled theirs before COVID.
Yep.
Microsoft and EA dropped out years ago. So it was really like it was really what Ubisoft had theirs. Nintendo had a direct, but they were at the event.
Obviously,
Um,
yes.
I think what else do we have other than that?
That's
Well,
Square
those are only
Enix, I think.
Square Enix. But yeah, they just jumped in last year. And somebody was gonna have Warner Brothers was gonna have one for their games. They'd have an actual E3 event, but COVID happened, so they didn't have it. Then they had the weird
Right.
DC fandom thing instead. Um,
Then you got like the usual suspects with Capcom and with like
yeah, but they're there like in
Namco.
person, but they don't have like events, like press conferences
Right.
and stuff. So it's like I mean, we're looking at this mostly as gonna be press conferences and stuff like that this year, which is what we care about. We're not in the press obviously, so we don't get to see this stuff behind the scenes. We just hear people talk about it. Um, so for us, I look at like I'd much rather have an E3 style thing because yeah, like I'm with you where it's like I remember like a lot of stuff getting like a lot of events being announced and shit like that, but it's like there were so many of them. Like it was just like and you didn't know which ones mattered, which ones were important. It's like even with the games with the Summer Games Fest thing, where it's like Nintendo and Sony weren't involved in it. It's like a lot of other people were, like just because it was like really more of like a calendar thing where it's like, all right, well, oh, you want to have an event on June 11th? Oh, let me look at the calendar. Here. Oh no, Devolver Digital's already doing it. Jeff Keighley's like emailing people back. It's like, hey, Xbox, Devolver Digital's booked on June 11th. You gotta do like he basically just like kept track of everybody else's events for them so they wouldn't intermingle with each other. Was really what it
Right.
was more than anything, and it went on for fucking ever. Uh, yeah, and it was like you didn't. There was like so many like indie ones where like I remember there was like one indie event they did like 3 days in a row, 2 hour fucking digital event of like indie
Oh
games. It's just
God.
like like no offense to these indie games, but it's just like like these I don't know. They're not as exciting. It's just like it's like indie games is such a weird place anymore. I think, anyways, I've talked about that in the past for my issue with indie games. But it's like there was like so many shown off, and it's like I don't remember 95% of them, and there's so many indie games are just the same fucking thing. It's like how many top down dungeon crawlers are you gonna make? How many battle royale games are we gonna have? How many
Right.
fucking limbo knockoffs are we gonna see? Shit like that. It's just like it's just like it's all blended in after a while. So I don't know what's what anymore or what matters. Um, and there were so many events like that. There was like tons of those where it's just like here's these small indie events where it's just a bunch of indie games, which I'm glad they're getting the showcase. But then you watch some of them, and the same game would be at all of them. It's just like no,
Yep.
you got like come on, like you can't be. I don't blame you for doing it, but I'm like you can't be at all of them. You can't show the same trailer at 6 different events, or show
Kind
the
of like
same
how Square
gameplay.
Enix did with Kingdom Hearts 3 for a long
Yeah,
while.
they were at every event that they were at like 4 different events that year. Good for them, but yeah, like come on. But at least it was like, it's a big known commodity. It's like, and they had different trailers for each one. This is like, you see some of it's like, how many times am I gonna see Skate XL, the same fucking trailer at every fucking different event? And it's, I don't know. And like Jeff Keighley did come out and say that this Summer Games Fest thing will be less than a month. But I'm like, okay, that's you saying that. What about all the ones that aren't gonna be tied to you doing
Right.
that? Like, who's in the Summer Game Mess Fest thing, whatever? Like, who's involved in it? Who do you have? Like last time you had like a graphic of all the companies that were involved in it. I remember like, yeah, Sony wasn't involved, Nintendo, and one of the big third party publishers wasn't involved either. I don't know. Yeah, but I'd be happy if like maybe it's not even a weekend thing, but like what if it is just like, yeah, it'd be great. Like if the Jeff Keighley Summer Games Fest thing was like, if it was just 3 weeks and we got everybody, we got, maybe they weren't a part of the Summer Games Fest, but we had a Sony, we had a Nintendo, we had a Xbox. Like it's like, and plus like this ESA is charging the companies well into the six figures. It was the report that came out. Not just 100 grand, a couple hundred grand, hundreds of thousands of dollars just to be a part of this digital event.
Yeah.
Just to put on your own digital showcase, you have to pay them hundreds of thousands of dollars just to throw all, which is insane in itself.
It's
Um,
ridiculous.
yeah, which I mean, I was kind of fascinated some of the stuff I was like hearing people talk about, like Ubisoft and Sony and Microsoft, like it cost them tens of millions of dollars to do E3s every year. Because I mean, like the rent the place, to put the thing together, to fly all these developers in, book the hotels, pay to have the plot of land in the event center from ESA. It's like it's nuts how much like that costs just to have that. And it's like just to basically like I'm gonna pay ESA to be part of, just to be in that E3 moniker, hundreds of thousands of dollars, when I can just do what EA's been doing, or do what fucking Microsoft's been doing. Is like, we're gonna do a we'll just do a press conference, and we'll just be across the street from you guys. And it's like, it's kind of, they can just do the same thing as like, hey, we're not gonna be a part of E3, but we'll just do the press conference the same fucking time E3's going on. Like, they can do that, and like, we're not gonna pay you, and not pay you 100,000. We can just do it behind a green screen, like we're gonna do it anyways, and just keep a fuck. We don't need, if we're just doing digital, what the fuck's point with E3? Like, I
Yeah,
love
really.
E3. It is crisp. It's like, it's one of my favorite times of the year. It's like Extra Life and E3 are like my two favorite parts of the year, just from the press conference stuff. And you have that, everybody comes together. You have all these fucking awesome news announced in a like 4 or 5 day event. And it's awesome. I love it. But it's like, I don't blame the companies for not wanting to get involved in this, but I hope they like get together and they like, hey, let's just make our own thing and just do it, or like just basically work together. It's like, all right, you get Sunday at 6, I'll get Sunday at 2. Like, I want that to happen. I want that E3 magic still to be around, but you can cut ESA out of it. I don't care. I don't we don't E3 is just a name, but the event itself is what's awesome. We don't need
Right.
ESA, we don't need E3 to be part of it. So long story short, um, just give me that awesome week. But yeah, we don't, if we're only doing digital, and especially for us, just as fans of video games, we don't need that. We don't need it. Like, we don't care about. It's fun to hear the behind the scenes stuff, but it's like, we don't really care at the press conferences. But just talking about Sony there a minute ago. There's that rumor like there was gonna be possibly a PlayStation State of Play here soon.
Right.
And then I don't think that's happening, because out of the blue, they announced Ratchet and Clank is coming out June 11th. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. It's going to be the first PS5 game to come out since, well, no, I take it back. Demon Souls is the first one, and then
Hmm.
Returnal will be the next one. I was going to say the first one since Demon Souls. So this will be the third PS5 only game to come out for this. Well, I guess Destruction All Stars too, which no, we've already, that game came out 2 weeks ago, and no one's a week ago, and no one's talking about it anymore. So I should tell you where that game is. Um, but yeah, it's coming out June 11th. Launch window game, Gables. Launch window game. 7 months later, we're getting it. Um, I don't know. I'm excited for it though. I don't really have too much to say on it. I'm excited for it. It's kind of a bummer that, like, like the first chunk of the year, not a lot coming out, and then it's just like everybody decided, like, from late April to early June, we're just putting everything there. So we have like
Yep.
a mini like holiday season, in that 6 7 week stretch where like near Pokemon, Returnal, uh, Resident Evil 8, Mass Effect, Deathloop, Far Cry, uh, Ratchet and Clank, all coming out in this like 6 week stretch, and then
Wow.
we're gonna have a wasteland of nothing after that. But I don't know. I mean, I know you don't have a PS5 yet, but I know you're planning to probably get one here I mean,
Eventually,
when you
whenever
can
it
get
becomes
one.
available.
Yeah, right. Um, but I don't know. What's your kind of your feelings on the new Ratchet and Clank?
I'm really excited about getting a chance to play the new Ratchet and Clank. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it looks fun. It looks like
Yeah,
it's a natural progression upon the last game. Obviously, I still need to finish the last game, but yeah, at the same point, it's like I love a lot of what it looks like. I love a lot of the level design that they've initially had Somniac has input inside of it because it looks like classic Ratchet and Clank, which I love very much, honestly. But I'm very surprised that they announced it for June. Yeah, launch window sort of game, and I guess for Sony, a launch window includes like at least within the first year of the console's launch,
yeah, yeah.
more so than it
Last of
is
Us
of like,
Part Two was a launch PS4 launch window game. I don't know if you know that.
oh wait, what was the last
Last of Us Part Two was a launch window game for PS4.
for PS4 launch
Yep.
window?
Yeah, Last of Us
Really?
Part Two was. Yep, 8 years
Jesus
later, launch window.
Christ! Yeah.
That's how long their launch window is. Till the new console comes out, launch window.
So what we've learned exactly from this, from Sony, if it's not from The Last of Us Part Two, or Ratchet and Clank here, is that they don't know what the hell launch window means.
Yeah,
But at the same time, it's like the launch of the PS5. We've had the Demon Souls remaster. We've had Returnal that's going to be coming out pretty soon.
mm,
You know, Destruction All Stars is coming with and stuff, and we don't hear hardly anything, even though the game has released for free on PlayStation Net for like about a week ago, and then you don't really hear too much of people ranting and raving about it in terms of something positive. But at the same time, it's like Ratchet and Clank. That's quite a far ways out and stuff like that for another exclusive. You know, I mean, they're really pacing out a lot of their first party stuff. So it's like they have that coming out in June. Then are they going to be saving like Horizon or potentially maybe a God of War Ragnarok towards the end of the year? And if that's the case, then they're probably going to save like Horizon. I'm guessing at this point, like the new Horizon game, like probably around the fall, you know, October,
yeah,
November window, and then have maybe God of War Ragnarok in 2022, which makes a lot of sense to me because that's the ideal type of game you want to release inside of like the later half of quarter 1, you know, for their financial calls and stuff. So if like you have that whole February March dynamic of releasing in 2022, you know, it's going to be enough distance away from the last Horizon game because you don't want those two like dual wielding that close together in one another. That's pretty much going to take away the sales from either or, you know, in that
yeah,
regards. So it's like what this announcement for Ratchet and Clank like on PS5 means to me is like, yeah, it's a long ways out, but it just shows me that Sony is definitely pacing out, probably more than likely due because of COVID, pacing out a lot of their exclusive content from launch to the middle of this year and then towards the end of this year, you know? So it's going to be a long wait in between. So, what
yeah,
better yet for those that own a PS5 or still own a PS4 and they go through their entire backlog of the PS4 stuff?
yeah, yeah. And it's yeah, kind of in a way like as soon as they announced God of War Ragnarok 2021, the first thing we said on that when we talked about it after that we recorded that night afterwards. It's like that ain't coming in 2021. Like I
No.
hope so. I hope to be wrong. I want to be wrong in that. And it's not gonna happen. And this I think this kind of just goes to show you that like quietly that game maybe not so quiet. Eventually they might say something, but it's like you know Ratchet and Clank. I'm not even complaining about the play. It's whatever. I mean June is fine. Um, I mean obviously I wish it was sooner. I wish a lot of these games like I said Mass Effect would be perfect right now. It's gonna be a 100-hour fucking game for me. I'd love to have that right now. Not that I have time to play it, but just to have it would be nice. But um, like this game quietly getting moved. Like Returnal got delayed 7 weeks, but like I said, I said that when it got delayed. I'm like, it's a tradition of PlayStation games where they announce a date and then a couple months before it's supposed to come out, they push it back 6 weeks. That's what they do with
Mm-hmm.
every first party game they have. Even second party. Look at fucking Final Fantasy 7. Got delayed 5 weeks, like a month before it was supposed to launch. Um, so yeah, I don't know, but it's like, yeah, this was supposed to be a launch window. Like they like Infamous Second Son was a launch window game, and that came out in March in 2014. Um, so what, June? But they said Gran Turismo, the next Gran Turismo, I think is 7 at this point, was supposed to be a. They said, then they said like at the beginning of this year they had put that scissor rail thing,
Yep.
and it was like they said first half of the year Ratchet and Clank and Gran Turismo. It's like,
Yeah.
well, first half of the year is end of June, June 30th. That's the last day of first half, and it's like this is coming out June 11th. We haven't seen or heard anything about Gran Turismo. Where's that going to be at? Like, I
That's very
doubt that
true.
game's coming out 2 weeks later. Maybe that's a July game. You know, but yeah, like they said Horizon and God of War second half of the year games, and I think Horizon will make it this year. But it's an odd thing because like we haven't seen PlayStation kind of like stop putting out their games in that holiday season. Like this year, this past year with 2020 was different, obviously because they're bringing out new consoles, so they want to put out new games to play with their consoles. I get that, but it's like they haven't put out a Killzone Shadowfall was their last big holiday season, like October, November,
Right.
first party release they put out. That was 20. That was a PS4 launch game, 2013. Like the closest they've had is like Spider-Man came out. I remember Labor Day weekend in
But
2018, and
other
that's
than
close.
that,
That's
even like the past couple of years, a lot of their main exclusive games have either released inside of a March or inside of like a
March, April. Yeah,
March, April sort of like foray and
last year
stuff.
was weird because of with the COVID and because of Last of Us and Ghost of Tsushima got pushed to June and July. But those games were supposed to come out in like I think Last of Us was supposed to come out like like April,
Yep.
and then Ghost of Tsushima was supposed to come out in May. I think it was or March and it was like March and April or something like March and May or something like that was. But yeah, like but it's also it just shows where gaming is nowadays. Where it's like when we remember when the first couple years we did this podcast, we would like talk about like summertime sucked. Just in general to be a gamer, but also do a podcast where it's like after E3 it was just a wasteland. There was no
Yeah, it was.
games. You might get one decent game in the summer that and it's like you're just scraping and there's no news and there's no games to play in the summer unless you're a football fan. You had NCAA football and you had Madden. That was it. But it's like we kind of seen this past generation where like that kind of change was like games just sell whenever. It's like you don't need to put them out either the first quarter of the year or or like you basically it was like games came out between like what Labor Day, so like early September to like late March. So like you can put them out anytime now. It's like we've shown that games will sell, and like look at Nintendo games. Like they put out games whenever the fuck they want to put out Nintendo games,
Yep.
and they sell whenever you put them out. You
Absolutely.
want to put out Splatoon 2 in July? All right, it's gonna sell great. You're gonna put out Arms in June? Okay, it's gonna sell. Like you're gonna put Mario Kart 8 out on the Wii U on Memorial Day weekend? Okay, all right, it's gonna sell. Even it's gonna sell 9 million units on a 13 million unit console. Um,
That's insane.
so
So
yeah, uh, but yeah, it's just I mean, so that makes me really happy, and I just like I hope that trend continues where we just start seeing. I hope the third party people get more of that too, where it's like I feel like really Nintendo was like the first one to do it regularly, and then like now Sony's kind of getting into that as well, and hope that eventually we get to like people just put fucking games out
right.
whenever when they're ready to go, we put them out. Um, but yeah, I know we're not gonna get a Call of Duty and shit like that in July. I get that, but like those non top tier games that sell to everybody that don't that aren't like that aren't fucking Assassin's Creed, Call of Duty, like those games will sell. Put some other shit out. Far Cry could sell in fucking August in July.
Yeah,
Um,
seriously.
but yeah, I don't. I mean, I think it's. I think we'll get. Um, I wouldn't be shocked to see like June is, Ratchet, maybe July or something like that. We get Gran Turismo, and then maybe September. I think we can get Horizon, and I think God of War Ragnarok is probably a February March title, as what I'm thinking. Which I mean will make me a little sad, but also happy because I mean there's so many, always usually a few really good games. Like always, it's always the big games that come out that require tons of hours to play. Those are the games that come out in the holiday season. So it's like I don't need another one on top of those. Even though I think God of War Ragnarok will probably be the best of all those games, not knowing anything about. But God of War is legitimately one of my favorite games of all time. So um, that can come out in its own timeline. But yeah. Anyways, moving on here to some Nintendo news. It's kind of a weird one. It doesn't really get talked about. I just kind of was glancing through Twitter and I saw this, and this is a article here I found on Deadline. So Crackle, which is a free streaming service,
Right.
you just gotta watch ads. It's been around forever. It's on everything. Um, it announced a release date for a 5-part documentary called "Playing with Power: The Nintendo Story." It's coming out March 1st, so we're gonna get one episode per week. The show is written and directed by Jeremy Sneed, and the executive produced and narrated by Sean Austin, so Rudy himself.
Hmm.
So I'm just gonna read some of the article here. So, world rights were required by Screen Media Ventures, the exclusive supplier of original programming to free ad-supported Crackle. Both entities are owned by Chicken Soup for the Soul Entertainment. Sony, Crackle's longtime owner, swapped its equity in Crackle. Well, that doesn't matter. I want to try to find the part that gets the part that's interesting to me. So, Playing with Power tells the sprawling story of Nintendo, the secretive Japanese company whose origins date back to the 19th century. It features Will Wheaton, Nintendo co-founder, Nintendo America co-founder Ron Judy, Atari co-founder Nolan Bushnell, former Sega of America CEO Tom Kalinske. Reggie's going to be in there. Phil Spencer from Xbox is going to be in there. Um, yeah, but anyway, uh, so this is a quote. I'm going to read this part. Sneed has explored the world of gaming in previous projects, like he did the video game The Movie. The docuseries unlocked the world of games revealed. Austin, known for acting in roles like Lord of the Rings, Rudy, The Goonies, connected Sneed with a mutual admiration for video game history, culture, and lore. They have had a 9-year producing partnership focusing on gaming content. This is a quote here from Sneed himself, producing and directing. Playing with Power has been a lifelong ambition of mine as an artist, gamer, and filmmaker. To see my show not only come to life with such loving care through my team and I's efforts, but to also have the opportunity to partner with such talented and experienced team like blah blah blah. Don't care. Just trying to. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm just kind of scrolling through the rest of the article here. But yeah, it's coming out March 1st. It's gonna be um, a 5-part documentary series coming out. We're gonna have the Last Dance Nintendo basically here. Uh, I couldn't
Hmm.
wait for Reggie to show up. And he's like, I took that shit personally. And he's talking about like the Wii and just smashing PS3 and Xbox 360. That's what I want. I just want him. I just want Reggie drinking a glass of scotch with a cigar in his hand, and just talking about all the times people fucking dissed him. He just destroyed him. Destroyed. Like Reginator just comes out and fucking destroys him. That's what I want.
No, man.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I want to say I don't know if there's a trailer out for this yet or not. I'm gonna look it up real fast, but I don't. I mean, it's gonna be it's a free service, Crackle. Just gotta watch ads. But you see yourself checking this out?
Yeah, obviously, I see myself really going into and just seeing a lot of the back history of Nintendo as a company because I know a lot of like the common stuff around the NES and the launch of that, plus obviously living through a lot of the history of Nintendo through like their acquisitions, through like the various steps in the right and wrong directions they've made over the past 20, 25 years and stuff like that. But I like to see how they were going to be handling like certain aspects of situations, especially with say like the Wii U generation, and also in terms of what Reggie would go into detail about. I would actually laugh my ass off if he actually mentioned anything. I thought, well, I still get messages from people wanting to know where fucking Mother 3 is to this day.
Yeah, right. I love it. There's a Mother 3 reference in this.
Oh my gosh. Because, man, he's never going to live that down, dude. He will never live that down. Oh, but knowing what type of history they're going to go through and showcase inside this documentary, it's going to be really fascinating. I wonder, are they going to be like hour documentary things, like one per like week
Yeah,
in regards to the 5 weeks?
it looks like it's a weekly one per week is what it looked like. There's no
Right.
it just says it starts March 1st. I'm assuming one per week. No idea how long each episode will be. Um,
Five, maybe showcasing a lot of the consoles, like say like the NES and Game Boy. Maybe you have like Super Nintendo, 64, GameCube, Wii and Wii U, and then who
I
knows,
don't. Yeah, I imagine the. Who knows how they're gonna lay it out, but I don't think we'll get a lot out of it. Maybe too much because I think it's like we know so much about Nintendo. I remember I've done multiple like school reports on the history of Nintendo as a
right?
kid, so just because like I did it once and I'm like every grade I was like I always had to do a big project. I'm like, oh, I'll just
Dude,
recycle all this information over and over again
dude,
every
there's
year.
there's there's probably gonna be a lot of new stuff. There's probably gonna be some new stuff that's gonna be introduced as well that we didn't know about. But that's the most fascinating thing I'm looking forward to. But it's like they probably are gonna go through the deal. They're obviously gonna probably go through like the deals that Nintendo was gonna be having with PlayStation, and then like they made that
Yeah,
deal with Philips in regards to the development of the
CDI.
CDI and stuff, and using a lot of their franchises like Zelda, Mario, and this and that. So for any younger listeners listening in, just pay attention that there is a reason why PlayStation is PlayStation, and a lot of that
Yeah,
has to do with what Nintendo did not do back in the Super Nintendo era, which was
thank God for that.
allow the PlayStation to be, having like a deal with Sony in regards to making the Nintendo PlayStation. Which yes, there is a prototype. Yes, there is. You can go through either on Google Images, go through YouTube, and there was tests done on this prototype because a guy had this system inside of like his attic or something like that for a hell of a long time. But long story short, go look into the more or less the details about the Nintendo PlayStation because it's a fascinating thing. It's from a bygone era, and the Super Nintendo was just this close of having its own CD drive in order to run like certain things like games and whatsoever. And even the Nintendo
Yeah,
64, it was also pretty close to running its own form of media inside the United States,
was it
although it
64
never came
DD?
out of Japan, and that was the disc drive, the Nintendo 64 DD. But yeah, that's just a nugget of a waterfall of information in regards to what Nintendo has done inside their past. Because
Yeah,
you look at the modern gaming right now, Nintendo, a lot of what they've done and what they've innovated upon has influenced the gaming industry for the positive throughout almost every system and every type of like games that you could possibly imagine. Without Nintendo, you would not have a gaming industry as it is today.
yeah.
So, going through these documentaries on Crackle, I definitely look forward to it. Love to learn something new in regards to either what Miyamoto or what Satoru Iwata went through, or God, even what Reggie's like stories or whatever type of like drunken tirades or something at the
Yeah.
in a way headquarters. That would be
I just
actually
want
be
to.
hilarious.
I want a 5 part series about fucking Reggie. I don't even want to hear about Nintendo. Just give me a. I want a Last Dance type 10 part series on fucking Reggie,
Oh
and
my
just
God, could you
dunking
just
on people.
imagine? Could you just imagine like his opening thing? It's like just imagine like just like a big old like Nintendo headquarters or something like that, and all of a sudden you just get like a picture of like say Reggie just waking up in the morning, and all of a sudden just getting like a text or something on his damn like phone or something like that. It's like, where's Mother Three at?
Yeah, yeah. I want to like every now and again. So the director just hands Reggie an iPad about a fan bitching about Mother 3, and he's just laughing at them. He's like, "Oh, get that shit out of here, man."
It's like, sir, when do you want to release Mother Three? And it's like, and he just goes through, just starts tapping on his little keyboard. It's
Yeah.
like put
I just
that
want. I want actually.
Netflix.
What's like? It's like it ends with like him like walking away, like doing this like dramatic, like some music's playing, maybe Pearl Jam in the background or something like that. As he's walking away, it's a dramatic thing about and it's the end. And people are talking over Reggie, and it just shows him sitting on the couch,
Oh
and he
my God,
turns the switch on, and then
dude.
up pops up Mother 3, and
Oh
he
my
has the only
God.
copy, the only translated copy in the world is on his Switch, and that's it. That'd be the perfect way to end in that fucking documentary.
It's like, oh man, it's that documentary like that, and all of a sudden he just takes a switch or something like that's gonna walk out of the room, and all of a sudden you just have the freaking theme, but the freaking ending theme, like the Incredible Hulk from like the 1970s or something,
Yeah.
just playing in the background as
do do
release
do do. What is it?
do
I don't
do
remember.
do do.
I almost went to Rocky there for some reason. I know I can have it in my. I can't do it with my mouth.
Oh my God, dude. I and just like millions of fans with their jaws dropped to the ground. It's like, motherfucker, he's got the only working copy of Motherfucker.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be great. I hope that happens. I want that to happen. Just, anyways, I'm excited for it. I don't think it's gonna get. I think it'll be good. I don't think I'm wondering how deep it'll get into certain stuff. I don't imagine it'll get super like in depth on certain things. That I think it's gonna be one of those cases where they're gonna try to get to such a broad audience that they're gonna go like incredibly deep on the shit that we're gonna find fascinating.
Yep.
I think we'll learn some stuff out of it, but I think it's gonna be a lot of it's gonna be shit. Like I watched the Console Wars documentary last year,
Yep.
and I'd say 90% of it was shit like I knew about it,
Yep.
and there's definitely some cool shit that came out of it. And it's like I wish they were, like I would have loved a fucking 5-hour documentary on that instead of the I think it was like an hour and a half, because I feel like they could have went some of the shit that they didn't talk about is fucking fascinating in that thing, but or it could have been more fascinating. So. Yeah, I'm curious, and then also, I mean, it's on Crackle, so who knows how big of a budget they got. No disrespect to Crackle, but yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Um, and then how long are we into the show, Gables? Where we at? Over hour 10 now. So I think we'll save the rest for the only thing we have left to talk about is NPDs. I'll save it for next week.
Okay.
We're going a little long here, but Gables, get to the part now where we talk about what we've been playing.
All right.
You know what? Fuck it. We'll do NPDs. Fuck it. I don't have too much to say about it. So I'm all over the place now. So this is the NPDs for the last month of January. We never actually did December's. Like I actually couldn't find December's.
Really?
So
Wow.
we have. Well, I'm sure it's in there. I might have missed it. I really didn't put. To be fair, I didn't like spend a lot of time looking for it. I like did a search like once, spent like 2 minutes. And, I can't find it. Fuck it. So I didn't do it because we did the 2020 overall in December for instead of December.
Right.
So here's January's list for starting number 20. We got UFC 4, 19 Super Mario Party, 18 Cyberpunk 2077, 17 Minecraft the PlayStation 4 edition, 16 Breath of the Wild, 15 Just Dance 2021, 14 Mortal Kombat 11, 13 Immortals Phoenix Rising, 12 FIFA 21, 11 Mario 3D All Stars, 10 NBA 2K21, 9 Smash Bros Ultimate, 8 Call of Duty Modern Warfare, 7 Ring Fit Adventures, 6 Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, 5 Animal Crossing New Horizons, 4 Madden NFL 21, 3 Miles Morales, 2 Assassin's Creed Valhalla, number 1 Call of Duty Black Wars. And I believe they came out and said that Call of Duty Black Wars is now the 20th highest selling game in the NPD era already. Yeah, so right here, Cold War has been the best-selling game in the U.S. each month since November launch, and now ranks as the 20th best-selling video game in U.S. tracked history, ranked by lifetime dollar sales.
Mm.
So yeah, that tells me it's probably. I mean, I don't know what the. I mean, I like to see that top 20 list of just that actually. What the fuck? What's that? Oh, and they also announced that came out that GTA 5, Take Two stopped putting digital sales on their. They don't count digital sales on their games.
Right.
So they don't pop up here. Like Nintendo doesn't share their digital sales. GTA 5 has now sold over 140 million copies, and
Jesus
2020 was the second best selling year for GTA 5 ever. The only other year it sold better in was the year it launched, 2013. So 8 years later, and it has its second best year.
Jesus Christ! I was never expecting when that game launched that it was going to have that much legs.
Yeah.
It's spanned now like 3 console generations. It's going to
Yeah.
be 3 console generations, 8 years, a lot of content for their online stuff. Still not sure if they're going to do single player content.
Then they said that there's going to be a next gen version coming sometime this year, and they've announced they're going to do a expansion for the multiplayer sometime this year as well.
Okay.
So, I mean, there's no signs of stopping with it, but I don't. I mean, I don't have too much to say. It's just kind of like, I mean, it's like we talk about all the time. Every time we do NPDs or Nintendo announces sales numbers, it's like it's incredible what they're doing. But it's like it's this is a very generic list. It's Call of Duty, and Nintendo. So like I don't know. Yeah, it's just like what we have. What there's what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Nintendo games in the top 19. we have two Call of Duties in the top 8. Um, and then you look at like the big third party games are there: Valhalla, Madden, uh, Call of Duty, NBA 2K, FIFA. I'm happy. I didn't play more Immortals, but I'm happy to see that it's in the list still. In January, you know, it came out in I think it was like the same week or the week after Cyberpunk, and here it is, number 13, Cyberpunk at 18. That tells you how well that thing's selling.
Oh yeah,
Um,
it's still selling pretty good.
well, and the fact that it went well, I mean, just I would argue that it's like going from 2 to number 18, and it's second month on the just I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, it's still selling super well, and I mean this doesn't include digital sales, but it's like yeah, I mean it shows you like kind of where like the news of that game kind of came out, and
Well, very true.
probably would sell a lot better. I mean, it'd probably be in the top 5 or 10 if it wasn't for that, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, and the only out in January was Hitman 3, and they don't, and IO doesn't give out digital sales numbers. So I hope that doesn't mean that like I'm not a Hitman guy, but I root for IO. You know, they're a team that broke out on their own and left the comfort of Square Enix and decided to be their own thing. And they did come out and say that Hitman 3 is already like the best-selling Hitman game, and it's already profitable after 1 week on the market. So that's awesome here. But I'm hoping it's kind of disappointing it's not see it crack the top 20, and I'm hoping it just sold ridiculously well digitally. Um, I don't know, Gibbs. What's your thoughts on this list?
Honestly, it is definitely to the numbers type of a list, with the same usual cast of suspects, a lot of Nintendo games like usual. Obviously, it's the same Nintendo games that have been frequently appearing on this top 20 lists and stuff for now, some of them for like a couple of years now.
Yeah,
Animal Crossing New Horizons at 5, no brainer. Mario Kart 8, no brainer. Breath of the Wild, no brainer. But I'm kind of surprised seeing Assassin's Creed Valhalla at the number 2 spot underneath like Cold War, and only because even though the game released last year, and even though like it's an Assassin's Creed game, that the game in and of itself, I've seen like people just have like middling reviews of it at best. Some of them like the content, some of them think it's like a lot of other types of stuff, but I think it's kind of telling that the game for the month of January sold almost near or even close to like say how Cold War did, even above like say Miles Morales, which is supposed to be a better single player experience and more focused
yeah,
than say Valhalla. I'm not sure whether or not it had to do with like a lot of like the Black Friday's like no like the end of the year sales that drifted into January. I'm not sure if there was like a lot of like deals going on for Valhalla in that regards for over the past month, but it's still interesting to see, even if it's not considered like this game as good as say like an Odyssey or like maybe some bits of fun stuff like say in Origins, it's still selling remarkably well in that
yeah.
regards. But yeah, seeing Cyberpunk 2077, I mean, I thought it was going to be off the list personally, and seeing that at number 18 spot, it just shows you that even regardless of the refunds, regardless of like seemingly almost like a daily type of crap going on with CD Projekt Red, that the game is still selling and there's still improvements and patches going on with this game. So that's pretty much it.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. So, as games, I imagine the next couple months will probably be the same. Assuming February and March will be the same. Like, might be a couple game difference, but I feel like the top 10 will probably stay the top 10
Yeah.
for the most part. Like I don't think. I mean, well, I guess. I mean, Mario 3D World will probably jump in there.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
that's. I mean, I'm trying to think of anything big in March. The biggest thing I can think of in March, and obviously I'm biased, is it takes two comes out like March 25th, but that's not going to be a big seller. I mean, it's gonna. I think it'll sell well, but it's not for itself. But it's not going to be anything to write home about. Um, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's just the NPD is my favorite thing to talk about every month, and it's just like, eh, this month. But well, hopefully, so it gets a little more spicy and entertaining in the future. But Gables,
Hmm.
it's part now when we talk about what we've been playing. I'm just gonna go real fast because I've only been playing one game. I've only played it for a little bit. I played Super Mario 3D World with Bowser's Fury. Came out. just yesterday. I've only beaten the first world, and I want to say I did like 2 levels of World Two. Um, I haven't played Bowser's Fury yet. I want to. That's the thing I want to just jump in and. Cause I've heard it's like 3 to 5 hours long. That's something I want to just jump in and just play when I'm ready to play it. Like I play it. I only knew I had like an hour or so to play last night, and like I want to. That's the thing I want to sit down to tackle it chunks at like good chunks at a time. Um, but yeah, I've been playing the actual main campaign. Um, it's taken a little bit to get used to with the speed change of it. It's definitely you can tell it's faster
Hmm.
than the original 3D World, and it's taken me a little time to get used to that, and then just kind of like slowing down. Not trying because that was like the main complaint I heard from a lot of like really hardcore Mario fans was that 3D World was too slow. So, and I mean, I think maybe overall it might be, yeah, maybe it's better to be faster. I don't know. I love 3D World on Wii U back in the day, um, and I'm really enjoying it so far. Again, it's um, definitely wasn't a nostalgia factor so much, like because there's been Wii U ports that came out. I was super excited to play them again. I played them. I'm like, okay, this is whatever. It was fun to play through once, but not again. And I was a little worried about having that with 3D World, but so far, the time I played it, like I was having a blast playing it last night, but it was just like it was getting late, so that's the reason I stopped playing. I had to force myself to stop playing, but yeah, I loved it so far when I played. What about you, Gales? What have you been playing?
Well, essentially, just to kind of piggyback off of the whole Super Mario 3D World talk and stuff, it's like I most recently today bought Super Mario 3D World, Bowser's Fury, and stuff for Switch. I pretty much like Tyler. I played through the entirety of the first world, I got every little collectible in regards to the first world in of itself. First thing that struck me was not really the speed, but like how much I not only remember of the game in and of itself, but like now I'm starting to noticing little bits of like leveling details and stuff like that. And this is far removed from like going through Super Mario Maker and Mario Maker 2, where you're constructing your own levels and this and that. But going through Super Mario 3D World again, I'm starting to recognize more so like how much fun I am having going through and collecting a lot of the stars, a lot of the stamps, like I was initially when I first was playing it. Because it's very important, obviously. You have a 3D platformer and stuff. You got to be having that sense of, oh, okay, I want to play one more level. I want to go through and I want to explore and see what I can get on the first try or the second try or whatsoever. And if it takes multiple attempts to get everything inside of a level, then I'll do that. But one of the strong points about Super Mario 3D World, it's like it compels you to want to go back and explore every little bit of a terrain of like a level and stuff. I had a lot of that same experience when I played through the game initially on the Wii U. It's obviously one of my favorite games that I played back then on the Wii U. But playing on the Switch right now, it's like I didn't even know anything about like the speed being like you know going up in that regards. It actually kind of felt like the almost similar to how say Super Mario Odyssey in terms of like say some of the speed of that. But at the same time, I didn't really notice too much of like a speed difference while playing like 3D World today. But a lot of the things remain the same in regards to the gameplay in of itself. You're still going through worlds and stuff like rescuing these. I want to say they're the subcons or whatsoever. They're kind of modeled after the enemies from like the good guys and stuff from Mario 2. I kind
Mm.
of thought, but obviously the story remains the same. Characters and options kind of remain the same and stuff. I kind of like the idea now that you can actually seamlessly go in and out of the multiplayer without having to like you know go through a lot of like rigmarole stuff. I miss the Miiverse stuff, but at the same
Yeah,
time,
yeah.
but
I
at the
wanted to
same
mention that. That was a sorry to cut you off, but yeah, like that was a big bummer when you get to the end of the level and then you don't have to see all the people comments and their art and stuff like that and like 67 seconds beat that and it's like stupid stuff like I miss that like I definitely love that and yeah I was like man the fucking Miiverse it's so cool it's the best social media device ever invented. It's better than Facebook, better than Twitter, Instagram, all of them. Just we should just get rid of all those and just make Miiverse and make that mandatory um, that you just have Miiverse.
oh man, yeah, the fun parts about the Miiverse and stuff is like they have the whole bunch of stickers and stuff like that up
Mm,
on the various posts and stuff. They give you the little bits of hints here and there if you wanted to do that. But at the same time, you take out the Miiverse, but at the same point, you can actually go and seamlessly have somebody online that you can go and invite. Either will come in and stuff. You can play like a couple of the levels co-op and stuff, so you have the potential of playing with like three other people, not even close to you, like all the way, like like an actual online match, like an online like co-op experience, as opposed to how the game was originally, where it's like, oh, it's just local co-op only, it's like, but still enjoying it. Obviously, still is a ton of fun. If you're like a vast majority of people, besides about 13 million of us that actually bought a Wii U, you're gonna really love Super Mario 3D World. Definitely
Yeah.
worth the time, worth the money. Now, with that out of the way, let's get into a lot of the meat and potatoes about what I've been playing this week. I still went back to play a little bit of Destiny 2, but I know there was a new season that came out most recently. The thing about Destiny 2 is like for each seasons over the past couple ones, they want you to spend about $10 in order to get into like the season, where they have like two tiers of like premium content on the top here, and then like all the rest of the stuff on the bottom, and that's for how
Yeah.
much you go through and progress by completing missions, going through Gambit, Crucible, like Vanguard strikes, and this and that.
It's like their Fortnite battle pass, basically.
It's quintessentially their Fortnite Battle Pass. Yes, you're correct in that regards. They most recently, because of it being a new season, they have a new artifact you can go through and collect. There's like new perks, some like mods and stuff you gotta go through and play through more of the missions and stuff in order to unlock certain mods. What's kind of a piece of shit about this is like I predominantly love using auto rifle stuff, and I have this exotic like auto rifle called Sweet Business, which is basically an auto rifle that's like acts like a turret, like a Gatling
Huh.
gun, sort of. So I got a fully automatic gun that I can go through and just cut through a lot of like enemies like pretty fast and stuff. And I usually like had it during last season to pair it off with like a modification that would allow me to do overload damage, which means there are specific enemies where if I overload their health bar, they're not going to regenerate their health. Well, there is not a single mod for any type of auto rifle stuff for this new season. Instead, there's a lot of bows, there's a lot of sniper rifle mods, there's some scout rifle stuff, which is like I don't use a lot of scout rifles. I mean, I it's either between, if I'm going to use a scout rifle, man, I'm going to be using a fucking sniper rifle because it's the same type of concept, only one's more deadlier and much more precise. But honestly, I'm not really feeling it so much right at this moment for
Hmm.
the new season. I mean, it's definitely something that I'm keeping in mind. They changed a whole bunch of the vendor stuff too to make it more friendlier in regards to those that are not playing every day that actually want to play other stuff other than Destiny 2. Because they've done away with a lot of their weekly bounties, and instead they have a lot of daily bounties that you can go through and do stuff. But in the same time, there are more of a payout in terms of what type of daily bounties you complete. Like you can earn certain like element cores and stuff like that, which obviously you can use to upgrade them to like enhancement prisms. Use that to either upgrade them to say like ascended shards or this or that. So basically, Bungie has kind of reworked a lot of the vendors so you can get more for completing dailies than opposed to, say, if you had like weekly stuff or if you don't play for about a week or two, you still won't be penalized as much. The biggest beef that I've had over the past couple of seasons is like I pay $10. I've had played paid $10 or something like that per season for the past couple of seasons, and I did not get the full extent of what I paid for.
Yeah.
I would play maybe until last season. I played until like I reached like around level 50, which is like basically half about what I could have done because I sure as hell was not going to put another 100 or so hours into like the Destiny 2 in regards to that. No, last November had moving all this other shit. Then December, basically kind of got burnt out once I got all the movement stuff, and Beyond Light dropped last year, and I played a hell of a lot of that. It's like I needed my time away, which I spent a month away. But the main thing about Destiny 2 from this week that I had played is a friend of mine. We both decided we wanted to get this one exotic rocket launcher. It's called the Xenophage. And basically, what this resorted us to do is go through a whole like mixture of having to find specific clues, going to a bunch of different things in order to try to tackle a bunch of puzzles and stuff like that. We had to use a couple of different types of guides in order to try to see which way and that way and stuff. The adventure of securing in order to try to earn this weapon was a lot better, in my honest opinion, than say, go to this spot, wait here for a few seconds, beat this one boss. Okay, here's your exotic. Kind of like that. It was more of an effort to get this rocket launcher. But once we went through all the rigmarole and all it felt like about 10 or 20 steps, like mission steps, in order to get this damn weapon. As soon as we equipped it on and stuff like that, we started like going into public matches, like the public event matches. We were doing like 10 to 20,000 damage with this freaking rocket launcher. It was that big in that regards to usefulness. It was like, holy crap, this exotic's pretty fucking cool.
It's like me at my ninth playthrough of Resident Evil 4 after I finally unlocked the infinite rocket launcher.
Yep,
Just like
quintessentially.
one shot kill everybody.
Yeah, quintessentially, it was almost exactly like that. But yeah, it was definitely fun to play. But at the same point, I'm really undecided whether I should pursue this new season because even though I love playing Destiny 2 with my friends, at the same time, I do not feel like I'm in the mood to play Destiny 2. But there are other games I have been playing. Just to touch upon a couple of them, it's like I did play through Scott Pilgrim versus the World. I did finish this game last Sunday,
Nice.
but I still am open to doing co-op stuff if ever you feel like you want to do co-op, whenever.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I did beat the game on rough and tough. It took a bit because the last portion of this game, the final series of chapters in this game, they can be difficult. My Scott Pilgrim was maxed out and stuff like that. Obviously, I had to learn to use the counter option like a little bit more effectively because using like the circle button in order to like try to get this whole counter stuff going was definitely essential. Now, the last series of events right here is like the first part of this chapter is like you had to go down this like elevator, right? And you have to fight all these enemies and like defeat these like break these gears on all four sides of the elevator in order to progress down. As soon as you do that, you got to go through like a corridor, a whole bunch of enemies, but you get to face off against one portion of the final boss, right? And then it's like this final boss, the last ex-boyfriend or whatsoever for Ramona Flowers is like it's a three-part battle essentially. First one is like you get against the super X, where it's like he's all brawny and this and that. He's relatively easy to beat. His second form, however, has the ability to where if you are too close to him, like at a specific angle, he'll go through this stupid punch attack, right? And he'll knock you off the damn stage. And so you can't really get too hasty in terms of your effects. I actually literally lost all my lives because I forgot that if I just went down just a little bit, I can actually like punch his stomach and stuff like that, and it'll have the same effect. Because what you're trying to do is you're trying to open his arms, right, and so you can like basically hurt, like a damage his heart. Quintessentially, his heart is like outwards and stuff like that, and you have to try to beat him like that. But once all of that is said and done, the final boss and stuff like that is pretty much like I thought it was easy at this point because I was just basically doing combos and this and that and just comboing into my tech moves and stuff. And so finally, after beating that game, it felt great. Obviously, first time I played through that game in years. I did it on a higher difficulty than what I did back then because I did it on the average Joe. This time around, I wanted a little bit more of a challenge. Got that. Ended up finding out a lot of the challenging portions about the game when you increase the damage is when you increase the difficulty is like higher hit points for like enemies. Some attack powers and stuff go up, but it's quintessentially almost the same game, just give or take like health, like enemy sponges and stuff like that. Let's see. I did play about an hour of Grand Theft Auto 4
Hmm.
on 360. It actually kind of surprised me how much I got invested inside the opening, like the cinematics opening story of the game in of itself. even the game from today's standard looks like shit.
Yeah, 2008
and
game.
and a lot of the gameplay, like the melee combat, plays like shit. And even though going through a lot of the city inside your vehicle and stuff, and doing this and that, going from one checkpoint to the checkpoint and stuff, it can be fun. You know, the exploration aspect can be fun. But the other game that I played on the Xbox One, Portal 2. I decided to go back into Portal 2, and I'm actually around halfway through that game. I'm halfway through the game again because I decided, okay, let's start it one night. And all of a sudden, it's like 2 chapters in. I'm like, okay. Next night goes up. I got another 2 chapters in. And then basically, I'm to the point in the story where Wheatley is taken over.
Hmm.
You go down the pit, and it's just you and Gladys as a fucking potato. You know, just her staring at you is like, hey, how are you holding up? Because I'm a potato. Just the sarcasm from Gladys on top of the past history between you and her from the previous game and stuff. I had forgotten that dynamic, and it some of the humor will go over your head at first, but once you get a lot of the context and stuff, it is very enjoyable. It also shows, man, like Portal 2, the level design and how the puzzles work. Those were so brilliantly designed. Those were so brilliantly designed to the point where it's like this is like my third playthrough of Portal 2 in the past. God, since like what 2011 or whatsoever, I want to say, and the game still plays fantastically. It's still a fun time to be had, and I gotta say, it's like rarely that I play a game from the couple generations ago and like actually want to go through and play it again because of how the games were structured during like the 360 and PS3 generations and stuff. But for Portal 2, it's a bit different because the puzzle aspects of them are very creative, very like on point. Like I kind of feel like that. Yeah, I'm pretty much halfway through the game currently, so I'm gonna see whether or not I'm gonna continue on or not because I still am playing a bit of Super Mario 3D World. But yeah, that's me playing games this week.
Nice. Very cool. Like where you're at. Just jumping around, see what sticks. Um, yeah, I think that will wrap it up for this week, guys. Thank you so much for listening. If you want to hear more from us, see more from us, we are everywhere: Twitter, Facebook, iTunes, YouTube, Twitch. Like we're doing this right now. Just check us out. Anywhere that does podcasts, we are on them. Spotify, all those. A lot of them I've never heard of before, but we're on them. I think we're even on Last FM. That's the thing. We're on it.
Well,
Yeah, we're everywhere. So yeah, just check us out, Drunk Nerds Podcast. Find us in those places. Uh, yeah, thank you so much for listening. I was host. I was Tyler.
and I have been Colonel Gables. Until next time, everyone, I hope you find yourself some fun games to play. I hope you distract yourself from real life issues. But most importantly of all, thank you for listening to another fun filled episode of the Drunk Nerds podcast.
And hey, Gales.
Yep.
Too sweet.
Too sweet, man.
Bye, guys.
See ya.